Hi, I'm broadcasting live from India, which is the country that I chose to research for my country report. So let me tell you a few things about India that you probably didn't know. Since 1947, India is an ex-British colony, and it's been considered a democratic country in the third world. India's won 5 Miss World titles and 2 Miss Universe titles, so we know that they're a very beautiful people. From 1900 to 1976, field hockey, which is my favorite sport, has been the national sport of India. The Indian film industry makes more films than the US, France, Italy, and the People's Republic of China altogether. India has 800 dialects and 15 major languages. The only country in the world it's the only country in the world that has a Bill of Rights for cows. According to Freedom House, India is free, and it has, on a scale of 1 to 7, it has ranked with 2 for political rights and 3 for civil liberties. So with regards to media development, India has used this to democratize their country and also to play a role in the development of technology. With regards to the media development, India represents an enormous country with potential. They have a huge film industry, many post-production houses and broadcasters, cable operators, and other forms of media which can be utilized to spread democracy, and they are also very critical of the government, which allows for press freedom. The different media types such as print, broadcast, computing, and internet enhances the criticism of the government, and these are starting to get used more and more in India. So what was covered in Indian domestic news? Well, mainly the poverty in India, the living conditions of the Indian people, which are not good. I mean, it's a third world country, so we know that. A lot of natural disaster such as floods, and there's a lot of coverage of the melamine scare from China and how it was affecting the Indian people. Local crimes like terrorism or police corruption and murders or rape were briefly covered in the news. So what was covered in American news? Well, it all started when I started my country report with Obama winning the Democratic nomination. There was lots of focus on the election and how the outcome of the election would affect India and their relationship between America and India. So throughout my coverage of India, the Indian media was very pro-Obama and the Democratic Party in general. Any articles about John McCain or Sarah Palin seemed to be negative or critical of them, so I think that the journalists had a bias towards Obama and the Democratic Party. Coverage of the election was sometimes trivial. They did cover important issues, but things that are not necessarily affect the outcome of the election, or for example, Palin's expenditure on her clothing, I didn't think was that important, and it turned people against Palin. I also listened to Indian radio stations which mainly focused on music rather than news. I also analyzed newsworthy photographs to tell a story and to see how they conveyed a message, as there were many placed on the Times Indian website. To get an inside look at an Indian's perspective of the media coverage in America, I asked him how he felt about that, and he replied by saying, "I read the newspapers, but not regularly. I get an idealistic impression of the view of Indian media. It's almost like the reporter is writing the story from outside the country and not getting the Indian viewpoint across. I'm able to get the facts. I don't think the most positive view of India is portrayed, but such is life when you come from a third world country." So overall, I think he was pretty happy with that. The overall tone of Indian news coverage and media was professional and critical and extremely pro-Obama. What annoyed me a lot about the coverage was that I was distracted by advertising. Every time you opened an article on the Indian Times website, you would get 3 pop-ups, and that just questioned the validity of the coverage, as what was the point of, was it to provide news or to provide advertising? So